my hospital is actually paying for me to go to school. But although my degree is in the primary care setting, so study tips that I have. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to share some tips that I use to graduate nurse practitioner school. So if you don't already know, my name is Natalie. I am an adult geriatric primary care nurse practitioner. I do work in the outpatient setting 5 days a week, 8-hour shifts. I did go to nurse practitioner school for a total of 2.5 years. My program was intended to be 3 years, but I did take extra classes during the summer and winter semesters just so that I can graduate a little bit sooner, because I thought 3 years was kind of a long time to get a master's degree. So yes, I am master prepared. And I actually graduated with either a 3.8 or 3.9 GPA. So I did gain recognition at graduation. And bear in mind, when I first started undergrad, my first GPA was about a 2.67. So it's definitely not how you start, but more so how you finish. And college is quite an adjustment for a lot of people, and in my opinion, my high school did not prepare me adequately for college, but that's a whole nother discussion. So let's get right into it. So I worked full-time on the night shift as a registered nurse while I attended nurse practitioner school full-time. Alrighty, so let's start off with scheduling. So for me, I work night shift, and with my flex schedule working 3 days a week as a nurse while I went to school, what I would do is I would basically cluster my days. So I work Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and I made sure that I had all my classes on the same day. So I would rest on Wednesday, and then I would have class Thursdays, and that worked really well for me, especially during the prerequisite phase when there was no clinicals. Now, when clinicals rolled around, I would still pretty much maintain that schedule of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. What I also liked about the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is that I had Thursday, Friday, Saturday off, and it made me feel like I had great days off in spite of being in school. So it kind of psychologically made me feel like I still had a life, although I really didn't, because all my time went to school and work. But at least the days that were like a Friday, Saturday, it was kind of like, you know, I was either at school or studying for school. So there was some type of freedom where when I'm done studying, I can maybe grab a coffee, or when I'm done studying, I can maybe go watch a movie or do something leisurely. Whereas work, once you're at work, you're work. There's nothing else that you can do. So this schedule worked really well, especially with the prerequisite phase. And then when it came time for clinicals, I used my vacation time to kind of finish my clinicals quickly. As you know, as a nurse, if you work flex schedule, you do not have to use vacation time to actually go on vacation. So basically, I just, you know, told myself that I'm only in school for a short amount of period or a short amount of time. Just use your vacation time, knock out all your clinicals, and move on. And before I move away from the topic of scheduling, if you are working 5 days a week and going to nurse practitioner school, like say you work in the outpatient setting, it is doable. I do have a colleague that I believed worked, she worked 5 days a week in the outpatient setting as a registered nurse, and she went to school, nurse practitioner school with me full time. If you're going to do that, I would definitely see what times classes are. So if classes are more so in the evening time, then working morning shift will be great. If the college you're going to classes are more so offered in the morning time, you may have to switch your shift to maybe evening or night shift to make it work for you. So definitely do your research when it comes to that. Alrighty, so back on the topic of clinicals. So as I mentioned before, I did use vacation time to expedite the process, or to complete my clinicals in a timely fashion. I did have colleagues in nursing school or nurse practitioner school that went per diem by the time you have to do clinical hours, because again, you are working full time, you have to do clinical hours, you still have to go to class, and you still have to go to lab. So it is a lot. It's very time consuming. So some of my colleagues afforded to go per diem, but my hospital is actually paying for me to go to school, and you have to be full-time. So in order to get them to pay for my school, I had to go full-time. So being per diem was just not an option for me. But although my degree is in the primary care setting, it's an adult geriatric primary care nurse practitioner, my school allowed me to do some of my clinicals in the inpatient setting, which is 12-hour shift. So that really helped me. So what I ended up doing was I did maybe like 2 semesters of, I kind of split my clinical hours. I did half my clinical hours in the primary setting so I can get the experience. And then I did the other half in the inpatient setting just so I can have the best of both worlds and to hurry up and complete my clinical hours in a timely fashion now. And it was also really beneficial because that way I get to see how I get to have two perspectives, like how being a nurse practitioner can be in the acute care setting versus the outpatient setting. And that just confirmed it for me that I'm so happy I picked the outpatient setting because it's more my vibe, more my pace. It's more what I'm looking for in the advanced practice role. So study tips that I have. Okay, so when it comes to school, the job of your professor is to basically tell you what to study. Pick apart the important information related to that class and tell you what is pertinent for you to study and focus on it, and essentially tell you what's going to be on the test. Yes, they tell you to buy these textbooks, but in my undergrad or grad experience, I believe only one textbook that I ever bought, and it was for a research class where I read front to back. Other than that, I never read a textbook front to back. I would go to the textbook for clarification, but I would never study the textbook. I would study the PowerPoints, which the professor provided to us as a primary study material, and that worked out fine. And like I said, I got a 3.8 or a 3.9 GPA. I can't remember exactly. So what I would do is I would basically study those PowerPoints. Whenever I need clarification, I would go to the textbook, which offers a more in-depth explanation. So once I'm done studying about 80 to 90% and sometimes even 100% of what I need to know, then I would have a colleague from school that I would literally call on the phone, and then we would test each other, go over concepts, and basically clarify, solidify, reinforce what needs to be reinforced, and we would tie up any loose ends related to the material that we were studying. And then of course, right before the test, we would literally be in a room kind of like panicking a little bit, but studying, clarifying things, and so on and so forth. And that approach to study groups really helped me. So I think with study groups, it's not great to really go in there knowing not a lot. You want to know the bulk of the information so that you're more of an asset, and then you and your study buddy can pour into each other and basically solidify what needs to be solidified. I just got more value doing it that way. When I was an undergrad, I would literally just go into a study group, not really studying anything, just kind of sitting there trying to absorb the information and just not being really sure about information. And I did not do as well in undergrad. This new approach of solidifying the information, then gathering to just kind of tie up the loose ends, worked very well. Okay, now support systems. In nurse practitioner school, the curriculum is challenging, it's rigorous, but it is very doable. I found it more, I don't want to use the word easy, but I found it more, let's say doable. I found it more easy or doable or more bite-sized. I don't know the right word to use, but basically because my undergrad degree laid a great foundation, and I already did pass a state boards exam, and then you're also getting a lot of experience in clinical, you're reading doctors' notes, you're reading the treatment plans when you are a practicing registered nurse. It laid such a great foundation for me. And I found nurse practitioner school to be challenging yet very doable. I encourage everyone to do it if there's something that they wish to do, and I don't think it is impossible, by no means necessary. I think it's more so time management, because you have to, for most people or for some people, you have to work full time. You may have family, husband, kids, parents that depend on you, siblings, nieces. You have your family network. You have to take care of yourself. You still need leisure. You still need balance. And it's a lot. It's just a lot of time management. But people do it all the time. They get through it. You're not the first. You won't be the last. So, you know, it's very important to really identify your support systems, be able to lean on them, be able to vent to them, be able to delegate tasks in your life to them so that you are able to show up as your best self, not only in the clinical setting as you continue to be a nurse, but also as a nurse practitioner student, so that you can do well and excel and take your life to the next level. In nursing school, there's a focus on being a A+++ student. I felt like I had to get all A's in undergrad school. In undergrad nursing school, even though I didn't, I just felt like if I didn't get an A, it was the end of the world. I was so hard on myself. I would beat myself up. I would cry. I've never cried so much like when I was in undergrad. Like, I cried to the point that I remember one time I cried and no tears came out. Like, I think I exhausted my tear ducts. Like, it was really bad. I'm saying that to say, and I graduated nursing school undergrad and became a nurse, practicing nurse, got into nurse practitioner school. So what I would say is, when you're in nurse practitioner school, yes, be ambitious. Yes, aim for an A+++. But if you don't get an A++, it's not the end of the world. Don't beat yourself up. Be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. Remember, you are working. You are a human being. You have needs. You know, it's not like when you're an undergrad and your only responsibility is to just show up, for some, to show up as a student without other responsibilities, a job, etc. You just have to be kind to yourself. You just have to realize that B's are okay. Okay, I've been on plenty of interviews as a registered nurse and a nurse practitioner, and not one person ever asked me the distinguished honor that I got at graduation. No one ever asked me about my GPA. It's just most important for you to pass that state boards. It is so important for you to pass your state boards so that you can practice safely. One of my professors told me that B students make the best nurses. They're more common sense. They don't overthink. Very common sense. They're great under pressure. They don't overthink things. They're not so literal with the textbook. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Being a B student is not the end of the world. It is sufficient and you can be a very safe, effective, and excellent nurse practitioner. Yeah, so those are some of my tips. Like I said, I did take some extra classes. So in the prerequisite phase, when you are only required to do non-clinical classes, hey, maybe take a winter class or a summer class. I find winter classes to be super easy because they're cramming so much information in a little bit of time. So it's usually, you know, very fast paced, but it's, you know, you skip the group projects, because I hated group projects when I was in school. I love the winter classes and the summer classes because a lot of times they would not do, you know, the syllabus wasn't so drawn out. There were no group projects. A lot of it were just most of the syllabus was basically tests, maybe a few essays. So if you can take extra classes to maybe expedite the process of graduating, that's also a great option. If you can do that, take advantage of it, because, you know, I feel like the quicker it goes by, the better. Like, it helped the nurse practitioner process go by. And the great thing about me graduating a semester earlier was I graduated in January of 2020. I passed my boards March 2020, and then COVID started, and I didn't have to worry about clinicals, school, nothing. All I had to worry about was staying alive as a nurse on the floor during the height of COVID, which was a big worry. But imagine worrying about that plus school. I would have just been exhausted. So, and then also, sorry, last thing is, if you fail a test, if you have to retake a class, just know that this is not the end. It's a learning experience. It's a learning curve. Again, please don't be too hard on yourself. I had one of my followers tell me that she failed a class and she wanted to give up. She needed some encouragement. Just because if you failed a class does not mean you failed as a future nurse practitioner. Just because you didn't pass the state boards on the first try doesn't mean you're not going to be a great nurse practitioner. The important thing, as Aaliyah said, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. As cliche as it may sound, it just builds character. It builds your character. You have a living testimony. You can help to encourage others. Everything, like I mentioned in one of my videos where I encourage, that's why it's important for you guys to watch my other videos, my motivational video. Anything that comes too easy isn't worth having. You will easily walk away from it. Nursing and entering the nursing sphere in the real world is not for the weak. If you did not work hard, shed a blood, a tear, a sweat for your degree, you will easily walk out that door and switch degrees. Trust me. Okay, nursing is not for the weak. It is not, you know, hunky-dory, happy-go-lucky all the time. Like, it has its moments. So, you know, it's just important to continue to show up. If you fail, you know, just reach out and see, you know, where you can retake a class where you went wrong. Is maybe sometimes you have to take a step back to take a few steps forward, and that is okay. You know, maybe you didn't take the semester serious enough. Maybe you weren't studying the right way. Maybe you had certain things going on in your life that kind of drew away your attention. Like, assess your situation. Just ask yourself, did I really give it my all? Was I even equipped to give it my all? Did I have all the resources that I need? Make those assessments, you know, make that assessment and just make some adjustments and use your resources. Schools have there's tutoring, there's your professor. If you need clarification, speak up for yourself. If you are advocating for patients' lives as a registered nurse, you can advocate for your education and your future as a nurse practitioner. So don't be afraid to do so. I wish everyone the best of luck in your undergrad and graduate studies. I just wanted to share a few of my tips. I hope it helped. If I missed anything and anyone else has any tips for my audience, please feel free to comment down below. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.